Oh yeah, we're live. Welcome, welcome everybody. It's a Coke in a cocktail glass kind of day. And I am super jazzed to be here today doing the Pepakuras. We have another really awesome Pepakura Tuesday planned for you all today. I am frankly very excited because we just got a lot of really cool stuff that I've been looking at, working on. That is, it's just going to be really fun. So obviously we have a ton of different trooper buckets to look at tonight, and I've done quite a bit of prep work. Good evening, Melvin. Good evening, Orlando. Thanks so much for coming out here. As always, we are constantly teething through our equipment here, so if something's not working, please let me know. But I thought we'd just dive right in. I've done a ton of prep work on these, so we're going to kind of clip along and see how much we can do. Yeah, hey, thanks for joining, Melina. Yeah, I suppose I should address. Thanks everybody for just giving me a little time and a little space, and for all the warm wishes. It's been a really rough week and a half. But we're here now, and I'm really thankful to be back, and I'm really thankful to be here. So, without further ado, I am really excited about a bunch of these, so let's just dive right in. I've done a little bit of editing on this model already, but I wanted to really show off something we talked about a couple weeks ago, which is under the 3D menu, edit mode, subdivide edges. I've actually gone through and specified a lot of edges to be subdivided on this one already, and I think I had it at 10 relative degrees there. So let's see here. There we are. Just a slightly smoother guy overall. Something's going wrong over here though. Looks like I missed a line. Yep, there. Ta-da! But now got a much smoother model on. I think this is a rip from the old Battlefront 2, like the really old one that rocked. And that's why the texture is so low res. But this model's really good. It's actually got all the good shape stuff that we need. So I think with that we're actually gonna. This is the only one I think that still needs a bunch of cut line edges still done. So maybe we'll go through and do a little bit of that for a minute. Oh no, I missed another line. What's wrong with me? Flying. That's what's happening. There we go. Whew. Yeah, let's just do a little bit of cut line edges work on this. A little bit of work in the 3D to make the 2D good. And then maybe we might jump over to one of the other models just to keep clipping along a little bit. Let's grab here. Let's grab there. Yeah, we'll sort of separate out this under the edges piece, as it were. Yeah. Don't you leave no man. Go to sleep, you little baby. Go to sleep, you little baby. You and me and the devil makes three. Don't you need no other loving baby? Go to sleep, you little baby. Go to sleep, you little baby. Your mama's gone away and your daddy's gonna stay. Didn't leave nobody but the baby. Yeah, we'll divide that along this edge here. Sort of create this back panel with like a really thick edge that I probably put together with some more stuff there. Yeah, I like where this is going. There's definitely sort of a ring around the bottom here and this is true of most clone buckets, but there's definitely a ring down at the bottom here that I just wouldn't use ultimately, because this creates such a tight circle around the head. There's no way that's practical, and of course on this very reduced poly count version, it's also super. Oh, that's also not split there. Hang on, we're gonna split this quad here. swap that edge so that it matches the other one. Super weird. On this super low polygon count model, it's also just super square and not useful. So we'll just go along there. Sort of get rid of that. And yeah, I think this is actually a pretty solid start to this model. We might set this one aside in the interest of getting more done tonight on more models. But I'm really kind of jazzed about this one because this is, I think, the weirdest bucket that we've done so far. Although I did do an Imperial Commando bucket, which you can find in the link down below. I've got a link to all of the trooper buckets that we've already made available. And of course, these ones will be hitting my Patreon either tonight or tomorrow, and then they will hit the rest of you this coming week. Because all of my patrons get my stuff a little early, and they also get some extra stuff from the doobly-doo. So, you know, if you're interested in my stuff, if you like this stuff, if you want to support the channel, consider checking out the Patreon. But in the meantime, let's wrap on this guy for now, because I'm actually really happy with how these shapes are blocked out. I think this is going to be super clean, ultimately. Yeah, let's look at that. So I got the front, got this overall piece right here. Yeah, and then just basically the tube around the side, back piece, and stuff over the head, which is what we want out of pretty much every model we make, frankly. Hello there, Leonardo Sanchez Jimenez. Glad to have you. So we are just going to go ahead and save this as is, because I like where it's at. I don't think it needs to a ton done to it right now. You know, we'll jump to the 2D on this one later, because the rest of these I have actually already gone through and done quite a bit of work to make these clean. You can see there's still a little bit of small things to take care of. Like these squares around the back can just be separated now rather than later, because that'll just be... It'll be easier now than it will be later. Might as well do it now, because it'll be harder later. What are you going to do? Alright, let's see here. Take care of these squares real quick. Yeah, this is sort of a base for a snow trooper, which I think is really neat, because I don't see this whole lot. And I'm not mistaken, I think... You know what, I'm gonna Google this real quick. Mud trooper. I think it's a solid base, yeah, this would also be a solid base for a mud trooper, which I won't lie, that kind of rocks. I'm a big fan of how much that rocks, frankly. Oh, that doesn't want to... There we go. Yes, yes, a mud trooper. Yeah, I think that would actually be a phenomenal base for that. So, you know what? There we go. It's a twofer. We got a lot going on right here, which is great. Okay, so this guy is also just about ready. Set him down, and you know what? Why don't we just start with this? This model was generously made available by Diaxis. He's actually a fan of the channel. Comes by now and again. And we do thank him for his contribution. So, without further ado, let's try this out. It's not 646 inches. Let's say it's more like 10 inches tall, because this doesn't even go to chin length, I'd say. There we go. And then I'm a filthy American. I work in letter paper, and we don't need flaps, and we don't need edge IDs. But this is actually pretty clear and clean already. I can see all the major shapes, which is exactly what we want from that 3D work we do. And now, yep, look at that. We got the one side of the helmet. And then coming down from the other side, we've got, like I said, the other side. That only needs a little bit of cleanup. That's actually really close to the final shape that I want. And then, of course, we've got both sides of the bucket here. I might actually just make these one piece along there. Look at that. Look at that band. It's the band you need. And then this is a little untidy, but most of the pieces are there, and it's trying to honor what I asked it to do, so I won't be mad at Pepakura for that. But in the meantime, let's see here. Grab the outer edges of the goggles, set those down here. Yeah, this turned out really nice. And then we've got sort of the inner faces. Oops, not that. This, that, these. That for those. This for that. No, not that. These, yes. Here we go. Hey there, Axis. How you doing? We're working on your model. One of 4 that I've got lined up for tonight. We'll see how far we get on all of them, frankly. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Okay, so got this part of the goggles, sort of the outside of the goggles here. And then let's grab this part so I can see what I'm doing. Hey, Mateus. Glad to see you're on board as well. Let's see. We're gonna grab that, bring it here, because that's gonna join across there. Want this to jump across here. Bim bam. Fin fang foom. We're done. Just curious, the stream is laggy. Is it on my... Is the stream lagging today? It's been yelling at me that there's a bitrate problem, but I don't know. I honestly don't know what the heck that's about, because I haven't changed any of my settings today. I don't know. There might just be a problem in my neck of the woods, folks. I'm really sorry. I've been trying. It's been, like I said, it's been a rough week. It just is what it is. I couldn't even get my lapel mic to work. We're all having to make do with more primitive technologies. But yeah, it's just been a little glitchy all over. I'm trying. Oh my gosh, this is such a tight web of faces right around here. How do I know, there is a way to get this to lay down. I do. I sincerely do. And I can taste it. I'm so close. That's pretty darn close, actually. That might actually be the way to go about it. I know there's a bunch of gaps in here, but when I go to join adjacent edges, those are going to tighten themselves up to some degree. Yeah. Yep. I think this is the way to get that to lay flat. Which is insane, because it doesn't look like it should be. Oh god. Okay, let's see here. Let's do the same thing on the other side, and if it still works there, then we'll know that I was right. Oh god. Pepakura, you crazy. You crazy girl. Okay, let's grab this right there. Come on, just do what I want. There we go. Okay, that's most of the goggles there, and then of course we've got the lenses in here, which I can quick whip together, because the lenses are just the inner part with sort of a trim around it, and with the trim I can use either to, if I were to do this as a purely decorative piece, I could do it as like an undercut in foam, or what I would probably end up doing is just using it as the sort of extra area around a plastic or acetate lens that allows you to, glue it down. Just like that, we got one lens, and not even a quarter of the way into the stream, and we're nearly done with one of the 4 helmets. We're doing it, guys. We're getting the band back together. Oh, I bid farewell to the port and the land. I paddled away from brave England's white sands to search for my long ago forgotten friends, to search for the place I hear all sailors end. as the souls of the dead. This is not a Galactic Marine helmet. This is a Snow Trooper base, so it doesn't have the big baggy piece of fabric. But I think it would actually be a really appropriate base for a Mud Trooper too. I know the goggles are slightly different in shape, but I think this is a really great jumping off point. And actually, that's something I'd consider doing, frankly, myself. Really like the way this is shaped, frankly. It's also just not a bucket you see a lot, but it still has all the stormtroopery shapes, frankly. Just good stuff. As the souls of the dead fill the space of my mind, I'll search without sleep until peace I can find. I fear not the weather, I fear not the sea. I remember the fallen, do they think of me? With their bones in the ocean forever will be. Plot a course through the night to a place I once knew, to a place where my hope died along with my crew. So I swallow my grief and face life's final test, to find solace of peace and a promise of rest, as the souls of the dead live forever in my ears. No, fill the space of my ears. Their laughter like children, their beckoning cheers. My heart longs to join them, sing songs of the sea. I remember the fallen, do they think of me? With their bones in the ocean forever will be. Classic bucket shape right here. This is going to be super easy to put together, actually. I'm quite happy with that. Here we go. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of seam up the middle, seam around the sides. That's how I got this helmet. This helmet right here. This helmet here. As well as, well, similar in shape to this one. This one's just longer, so it doesn't really wrap around so much as it just kind of goes up over the cranial ridges. But both of these sort of follow this methodology. It's really concrete. It works very well. I can't recommend it enough. There, yep. Cross. Oops. Doop-a-doop. And just like that. Actually, Diaxis, I don't know if you're still here, but I'm going to be pulling off that same trick I pulled the other day, where you just kind of ignore part of it so that you don't get weird lines. There we go. There we go. That's all correct. Just most of it. This I don't need. That is unnecessary. This is all unnecessary. Oh, actually, I was going to put a flap all the way around the bottom of this. And that way you also kind of take stock of the rest of this piece here. Yep, just along there. I spoke too soon. We're using more time on this, and that's okay. I want to get this done right, but for a moment there, I was really excited. I was like, we're gonna get through everything, and you know, maybe we don't get through everything. Maybe we just get through a lot of it. That's okay too. Woo. Let's see here. Yep. Separate that there. Heart of my heart, I love you. Life would be night without you. Light of my life, my darling, I love you. I love you. I can forget you never. From you I ne'er can sever. Say, oh, be mine forever. I love I'm a hussar, I'm a Hun, I'm a wretched Englishman, riding Bonaparte at Waterloo. I'm a dragon on a dun, I'm a Cossack on the run, I'm a horse soldier, timeless through and through. As with Custer and the 7th, 76th or 77, riding, scalped that little bighorn by the Sioux. And the tears and devastation of a once proud warrior nation, this I know. I don't think I'm entering the contest. I was thinking about it for a while there, and then life happens, and you think to yourself, it's okay that I'm not also doing this other thing, and I think that's probably for the best, frankly. I wish though. Looks like it's gonna be really crazy, honestly. There we go. That's super close. It's not 100% perfectly aligned there, but that's gonna clean up very, very nicely. I'm actually really curious. Is anybody else entering the Ultimate Online cosplay contest? Because it looks super cool. Your boy has just been doing small commissions here and there. Sometimes I gotta make money. Oh, where's my piece? There it is. Ta-da! Ta-da, ta-da! When a felon's not engaged in his employment, or maturing his felonious little plans, his capacity for innocent enjoyment is just the same as any honest man. Our feelings we with difficulty smother, when constabulary duties to be done are take one consideration with another. Our Molison's lot is not a happy one. Oh, better far to live and die under the brave black flag I fly, than play a sanctimonious part with pirate head and a pirate heart. Oh, to the cheating world go you, where pirates all are well to do. But I'll be true to the song I sing. Here we go. Let's go to join 2D menu, join adjacent edges, ramp that all the way up. And we're going to do that one more time, rejoin these edges right here. But we're going to make it like 1 millimeter instead. Ooh, not quite enough. Let's try 2. Is that too many? It's not. Great. To live and die a pirate king, for I am a pirate king. And it is a glorious thing to be a pirate king. I am a pirate king, is Rafa the pirate king. And it is a glorious thing to be a pirate. Sing, Rafa the pirate king, Rafa the pirate king. You know, honestly, it's not bad, really. If I were to be super nitpicky about this diaxis, I think that the only thing that really bugged me when I picked it up is that there isn't symmetry. Well, that's not true. There is symmetry vertically, but I had to put a line in the middle very crudely, very quickly, because I'll be honest, I'm doing this work for free. It's not all going to be amazing, but I really like the symmetry about what you see on the face in terms of my polygons. I don't know about you. This might just be a personal thing, and I think it's also something that comes from the kinds of patterns that I'm making a lot. So I'm very conscious of that. Whereas it's not super important, especially if you're making a lot more shall we say, more artful or rounded shapes in 3D, because obviously that's not going to get you the cleanest dome shapes, frankly, in 3D space. You're going to get better renders out of different kinds of things, frankly. Let's see, get rid of that, get rid of that. Do we need literally anything from this? I mean, I guess we could split it like this. And in that way, yeah, no, we do need it like this. Go like this. Yep. Yep. Oop, nope, 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 no, 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 no. Don't believe me, just watch. Here we go. Yeah, that's what I thought. And the way you described it is it was remeshed from a model that was way too complicated for this. Which, I mean, hat tips, sir, because that is some grunt work. It's the worst kind of modeling to have to do, frankly, where you're doing it again, but simpler. Here we go. Let's get rid of this. Don't want to do that. Can I save myself some time by not grabbing valley lines? A little bit of time. Not much time. Still kind of have to just do it. There we go. Oh, God. Why? Let's see here. As always, if anybody has any questions about what I'm doing here, a lot of these processes I'm sort of speed running through right now, I have talked about on earlier streams, but I absolutely will go over them again, because these are at their core educational streams, and I really like getting to share the knowledge, because I think the more people that can do this, the more people are going to get to enjoy this kind of prop making and whatnot. So, please, by all means, ask questions if you have them. Let's see. I wonder, can I... Yes, I saved myself so much time. Oh, thank God. I only need to do, like, these 2 lines now. That's great. Okay, let's... Oh, and then, of course, we don't really need, basically, any of these lines. I suppose I can keep the sharp corners to make the model in the 3D look pretty. No, really? Hang on. That's where it is? No. Oh no, it's just like right there. Oh, that's crazy. That is not where I would have just assumed. I wasn't counting, I was just eyeballing where the corner was there, and I really thought that was in a much different place. That's all fine. Here we go. So, 3D menu, reset model view. I think we're gonna keep this side, yeah, because that looks better. Just a little bit better. And then that's all we're going to keep. Everything else gets got rid of. And yeah, these are basically the templates. I'll probably spend some more time on my own just rearranging these to look a little nicer on the page. But these are super simple templates for a simple bucket. So we'll save that. Snowtrooper helmet. And let's go to... Okay, should I go to Commander Neo or a Flame Trooper? You guys have like 30 seconds to decide, because I know I'm a little ahead of you. That's okay. It's a pause for Jaden to have a drink. First to speak, it's Flame Trooper. Let's take a look. This is a model by Rundown. Rundown's got some pretty good stuff that I really like. And that's a second for the Flame Trooper. We're in the right place. Here, it's actually got some texture on it, which is pretty cool. So it's like a first order Flame Trooper. I like it generally. I think this is a pretty cool design. Not to mention this is a pretty clean model that I've already gone through and made a few quick edits to. I'll point out. For the most part, I have done all this specifying of cut line edges. I think it's going to be very quick to unfold because this is mostly rectangles, very few triangles, which is also super easy and great. There are ways to like fix that in Blender too if you're concerned about the level of triangulation in your model, but I'll save that for another day. Whereas this is just a super clean model that I've already done a bunch of work on here. Oh, and of course I also I'm getting rid of this line, this inner line here, but I'm keeping this under the chin piece because I think that's a big part of the shape there. But for now, let's hit that unfold button. It's not 40 inches tall. Pepakura. What? Okay. Let's call it 11.5. 11.5 inches tall. What are you gonna do? And it's done, right? Not quite. There's a lot of I got a lot done with this, but there's definitely gonna be a lot more work on this one than I'd say was on the Snow Trooper. Still managed to pull off pretty clear pieces for the dome, which I can sort of see are already manifesting up there. We'll sort of combine those. Yeah, you can already sort of see the shape taking place. It's definitely a slightly different dome shape, but the overall shaping that I use for a lot of these domes still works. It's just a slightly different shape overall. Again, a lot of stuff that I do uses that 2 across and then straight across like that because it works and it's super easy to put together. It's 1, 2, 3 seams. That's it. So can't recommend it enough. Let's see. We'll go through. There we go. Let's see. We got the bucket sort of set aside here. It's missing a square. It's a square just missing in the middle of it. Oh my god. Okay, there we go. Sweet. Got the bucket right there. Now there's sort of a band that's going to be the majority of the what I'll call the base, the faceplate and the around the back wrap. That actually isn't going to be too tough ultimately. I am going to split this in the middle because that is an annoyingly slim piece there. We're going to want to combine that with some other stuff or it's not going to lay pretty. You know what we might have to do is we might put this sort of together here, but then we might have a seam down the center and instead I'll join this at the back. Whoops, there we go. And I guess in that way, it doesn't matter that this isn't perfectly straight because you'll actually assemble it, gluing it together this direction. And you'll let the stuff underneath it, the visor and this sort of recessed panel guide where that goes. And actually that's going to produce a pretty clean template. Wow, I'm actually super impressed. I like the way that works a lot. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sisters, let's go down in the river to pray. Here we go. Okay, let's see, what else is going on here? I could grab the visor piece. Same dealio as like the eyes in that other, in the Snowtrooper model, where we're gonna keep the sort of thing that rims the actual visor, and that becomes a really great identifier for how much edge material you need around it to get a good clean bond. I know when I put together, oh, hello. There we go. when I put together the Republic Commando recently, I had to be sure to leave a ton of extra shape on the inside here, so this could have a really secure bond. I also drilled some holes in it so the glue could kind of seep in around both edges, and now it's solid in there. I'm holding this by the visor on the inside, so it's really important to have that extra material, even if it is just a little tiny strip like that. Let's see. Speaking of which, let's grab that part. Da, 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 da. Oh man, it's just flying. I love when a model has the really good rectangles. Good rectangles. it's that Ron Swanson meme, just like, this is an excellent rectangle. Here we go. Great. Wow, we kind of got the top portion covered here. It's good. Solidarity, one firm. Here we go. Okay, so now we've got sort of the front and the sides. I might... I'm going to split it right here and right here. Because I had to make a decision. It can't all be joined there. It'll get very messy very fast. So instead, we're just gonna make some hard decisions. And I'm also gonna add this part back over here. Yeah. Yep. I think it's a good decision. I think also this too is a good decision. Actually, that might be easier to cut like that. There we go. Okay. Inner monologue coming out. Perfect. Perfect. There we go. Let's just combine this around this edge here, because this is actually, once you take into account that some of it pushes together, this is pretty close. I might even it out a bit more just around here so that it's not quite so domed out at the back. So I might instead go like this. Sort of take some of the less intense ones. Yeah, that's a little better. So that's the sort of underside, under this right up here. And then we've got sort of the vents right at the front. I think this is how that's oriented there. Yep. Okay. And these we will just even out as circles. Yes, the circles. There we go. How do you do registration marks on the pattern? So in this particular instance, were I to go through and hide all these lines, I'll have lines along the edges that I can use as registration marks. Here, I'll actually pop back over to, let's pop back over to the snow trooper for a second. So I've got this guy right here, and I want to make sure that these line up. Now, fortunately for us, there's kind of a fun point right there that will line up very, very well. But let's say I wasn't sure about the rest of this. I could go to the paint hidden line. I'm going to choose the color black. And let's say I want to take this line right there and make sure that it lines up with that right there. And I can paint that in. Let's do one right there. These aren't necessarily where I'll have them in the end, but they are a good illustration of what I'm talking about. Whereas these lines now all line up perfectly insofar as they relate to the 3D and the 2D. And then, of course, across the center line, I can just do as many as I want, because this is, of course, a symmetrical part. So it's not super, there's not a super big concern that I have them on both sides, as it were, because it's just on both of them. And just like that, I've got registration marks all over this thing, and of course, this will line up along this seam going around the back of the helmet. Now, I will use some of them. I don't tend to use a lot of them. Actually, going back to my hunter helmet, this thing turned out great. I wound up, the pattern has a bunch of registration marks over the top and around the side. I used none of them. I basically just lined it up on center and went, and it's pretty intuitive, you know, because you touch the front together, you touch the back together, you touch a point in the center together, and you just sort of work your way across, getting that dome right. So I don't tend to use a ton of registration marks. I tend to use it more for flaps that I'm going to use to glue things onto, so like the ears onto the rest of these pieces, or let's see, the dome over the front faceplate there. That's more what I use them for, and that's more of an issue of flaps than painting back in lines. Let's see here. Going back to the Flame Trooper. Yes. Yes. Okay, so that is supposed to go together there. That is actually kind of an excessively large gap there. How best to fix that gap? I think best to fix that gap like this. And basically just have a single, well, two little dips there that will just curl back in when we put it together. Oh, and you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think even if it's not necessarily the easiest way to cut this, I think this will actually be better ultimately to have those two bits right here. Yes, indeed. Yep, and that just goes over the top. Food, glorious food. Here we go. Great. Let's grab this. This is another one of those pieces that's slightly recessed, so I will add the pieces going around it. And in that way, I will have achieved cosplay. Forever. I'm a god. Thanks. Does that actually help, Melina? I apologize. I'm trying to make sure that I'm fully covering the answer you're looking for. Let's see here. I don't know what that means, Matthias Tapia. And I apologize for only knowing the one language. I'm trying my best, I swear. The internet's a big place. No. No. There we go. Gosh, there we go. Okay, here we go. Grab that there. This goes like in between these guys. Yeah, that's super clear. And then this, and then it's sort of a band going across the middle. And then this is the under the chin piece right here that I was talking about earlier. This is the piece I'm not using because I don't want to. Don't make me. Here we go. Oh, good. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna translate that. Translate to English. I've arrived late. I think you're gonna be okay, Matthias. I really do. I really do. This is honestly just some good old fashioned grunt work. We are turning okay 2D shapes into clearer 2D shapes. 2D shapes. There we go. Just trying to exchange bigger darts for smaller darts. That's the ticket. That's pretty close. I'm inclined to let this stand with that kind of gap there, because otherwise the shape along these lines gets really, really messed up. Yeah, I think if we go, because now I'll just test it. We'll join adjacent edges real quick, ramp that back up to 10. Yeah, that's fine, because we don't need any of these undercuts. We just need the outer edge to be preserved for what we're doing, because we're terrible. We're awful people who are abusing Pepakura and all of its power. There we go. Sweet. That'll go there-ish. There-ish. Sweet, this is basically one part. And you could combine these parts a little bit more. But ultimately, I think that it's going to be better to do them separate and do something kind of like what I did for the Republic Commando, where instead of etching in a line here, this is actually a seam between these two. And I round over the edges of the two parts that join, and they create a really nice detail line. And that's basically what I do here, because these are still emulating that vacuformed feel of like the original Stormtroopers. So they're all very, very round, very clean in that way. That's really just what we want. Now, I'm not going to go through and unfold, or at least unfold for the purposes of using it, all of these inner lines and whatnot. That's just not going to be useful. Rather, instead, I'm going to make sure that we've got this larger gap in the teeth, as it were, because that will actually be useful to separate this part from this part. And the rest of that I'll probably just tidy up piece by piece to make sure that I don't miss anything super important. But this is the bulk of this build. I feel pretty confident leaving this one as is. Obviously, there's a little bit more work to do, basically taking these circle shapes and setting them next to other circle shapes so that they're very clean and pretty, and you can say, look, I'm gonna make this circle shape. And that's really all I've got to say about that. But yeah, no, I'd say Flame Trooper is like 85% of the way done, and that's going to be good enough for this stream. Yeah. So to that end, I think we're just going to pop into the only one we haven't looked at yet, which is I have a Commander Neo helmet, which I'm kind of jazzed about. It's pretty detailed. It's a mess, though. This is arguably the most detailed and least workable model that I've got. When will I do a helmet tutorial again? I'm editing one right now. Do you see these helmets? Do you see these helmets? The helmets I have made. I'm editing it. You know what the real problem is right now? You know what the real problem is? I said, oh, I haven't done a helmet tutorial in a while. I'm rusty. I should make it twice as difficult and twice as long. So it's taking me a moment. I'm trying to get it out this week because I was going to get it out last week, and then obviously life got in the way. Thank you. I really appreciate that you do like the builds, and that you guys are interested in more build guides. And if you're looking for more of me in the meantime, check out our Discord and check out, of course, these live streams. I do them 1 to 2 times a week. They're really fun. And of course, I put out more templates. And if you want to support the channel, support us over on Patreon, or, commission me. I'm open for commissions. I do commissions. Actually, a friend of mine just commissioned me a couple of small pieces for Anna Minneapolis, which is really fun. I have some photos of it. I'll probably share them soon, just because they were fun to do. But they're not they weren't super all over the place. They're not crazy detailed like some of these Star Wars builds. Some of these Star Wars builds. So bear with me. In the meantime, let's look at Neo, because I have already done all of the 3D work for Neo. Neo is your classic modified Phase 2. He's basically the standard Phase 2, but he's got a really whacked out faceplate. It's kind of like another Rex in that way. It's very normal Phase 2 helmet overall, and then suddenly, bam, it's not. And also, I have to figure out how to do that. So I figured we could just kind of lazily let the stream sort of start to die down on this part. Now, there's only a couple other things I wanted to check, make sure we're good on this part. I wanted to make sure that I had completely separated this inner rectangle on the fin because, well, frankly, I don't want to use a flap to construct the parts of this fin. I'd really just like to use the inner part and then a hook, like a C-shaped part on the outside. Because that, in the past, has worked very well for me, rather than making just a band that glues over the top, because that shape can tend to warp a little bit more, I find. Honestly. If you're just laying a 2D added part over a very 3D rounded shape, I find that you tend to lose the intended shape a lot faster than you really meant to. There we go. And then, of course, over the top around the outer edges. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Pretty good. Great. Mission accomplished. Let's unfold this. Right. Unfold 22 inches. Pepakura, why? God. Okay. Let's. This one's gonna be a little bit bigger because of fin and whatnot. Let's call this one 12 inches even. Is there a way to scale one side of a piece and not the other side in Pepakura? There is not. Not in Pepakura, at least. Hey, thank you, Morgan. Thank you very, very much. There's not a way to scale in one direction in Pepakura because it is all in a ratio to each other. So if I make the height 12 inches, and then I also want the width to be 12 inches, it's going to make the height 12 and a quarter inches to keep it all in proportion with one another. There are ways to do that, but unfortunately, they require other programs to do. I do know I've helped a gentleman scale things and modify them in like Blender. Armor Smith is another really common one that people use, and that also has like sort of a body form that you can use to kind of mesh things together. But I will say it's a lot more complicated than this. The math tends to get a little crazier too. I also think that if you're not careful, trying to scale things perfectly to you versus scaling them in proportion to the way they look to you can sometimes make you look very strange. Like I've seen very like reedy looking, Armor Smith diaxis, that's the one I was talking about. I've seen very reedy looking Iron Men because they'll like scale the thigh really long, and you just wind up looking a little weird because I think people inherently have an idea of what these characters look like, for the same reason that if you're not careful and you don't do your trimming correctly and you try to put a full-size thigh on a man that's just a little shorter, you'll wind up with somebody who looks very squat in a way that you don't want. It's a fine line. So I don't tend to traffic in that. If I need to modify a piece, usually I'll make the piece and then modify it a little bit. It's just a little easier in my mind, frankly. But let's call this 12 inches flat because I don't want to do math. And here we go. We don't need flaps. I swear, I tell it I never need flaps, and it's like, you need flaps. You know what you need? Flaps. Here we go. Let's start with some fun bits. Take some fun bits. Take the gaggles. Oh, I was so nervous it was gonna do this. So there's a slight dome to them. So they want to separate a little bit, but I think that's pretty close. And I bet you when I join the adjacent edges, oh, it's basically perfect. I'm not going to fiddle with that. That looks great. It's true. Actually, this is a huge thing in costume design. A lot of what we call heroic proportions are, I think it's 7 heads tall. Like if I was to take a picture of my head, right? My head. and put it next to a picture of me fully standing, you could take my head, and most people are like 5 to 6 heads tall, I believe. Whereas heroic proportions put people at 7 heads tall, and usually a lot of that is made up in the midsection and the thigh, and it stretches them out in the middle, and it gives them that Dorito shape, the big alpha bod, if you will. For women, the way they tend to trick it, this is an absolute travesty, is they tend to artificially, through like camera trick or straight up CGI or costume trick, trick the idea that the waist is just slimmer and imply that you're that many heads tall through like other ways of like slimming and changing the shape of the body. Yeah, you just need to make it work for you, frankly. This is just a huge problem in cosplay. You've gotta tweak everything that comes your way. I have a lot of people who come to me from my Etsy store. They're like, how do I scale it perfectly to me? And I'm like, you're probably going to need to make it twice. And I know that's not super helpful. I know that's not super great. But the reality is that there are things you're going to want to tweak. And even things that I've nailed. Like, I love this guy. He is basically the final form of another one that I made down here. Like I made 2 of them. They're both here. And I'd say they're both really, really good, but this one is definitely better, and I will say it also just fits me better. Like it's super easy to wear. Plus, of course, this one has a visor already in it, and I also kept, it's really fun, I kept the ear hooks for the visor in there, so it just rests on my head on my ears, on the ear hooks, which is a fun little happy accident. But you got to tweak everything that comes your way, which is also sort of the message of these streams. I make things, but I really want everybody to take what I do with like a grain of salt. Like take what I do. Take these templates. If they work for you, I'm so happy they work for you. And I've seen for a lot of people, a lot of what I do just works. But that's not always going to be the case. Some of what I do is, unnecessarily fiddly or a little strange, and you shouldn't blindly follow what I'm doing in that way, which is a terrible way to say that watch everything that I do, but not all of it's going to work for you. There's just broad techniques, broad things that are going to work pretty well for most people. And then there's that, like, 18% left at the end that's like, hey, you're going to need to make sure it works for you. Like, even my templates for the Republic Commando, I hollow out more of the front edge because I just want lots of space for my big old noggin. And that's just me. You might not have such a big a noggin, but you might have bigger shoulders, so you need bigger shoulder pads. And maybe at the end of the day, your forearm's just really long, so you need to add an extra inch, like, in the middle. Not at the end, not at the back end, but, like, in the middle. And that's life. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune when I'm back on top in June. I said that's life, and as funny as it seems, some people get their kicks just from stomping on a dream. Hey, Koa! How you doing? Glad to have you back. It has been some time. Gosh, it's been like a month? 2 months? I don't even know. Sorry, this past week has kind of messed up my sense of time. For those of you who don't know, I lost somebody in my family, which is very, very rough. And we're all working through it, and it is what it is. But I'm very glad to say I managed to get out to see my family in Jersey before things went super sideways. And so I've just been in a weird sort of liminal space for the past. I measured it for a while in hours. Oh, I really appreciate that, and there's been a lot of support coming my way, and I really appreciate that from everybody. I tell you all this now not because I'm looking for that, but because that's part of the reason I'm just so out of it at the moment. Because, like I said, I was measuring it in hours for a while there, not days, because I just didn't know what the next move was going to be at any given moment. And that's a weird thing to think. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you very much. But yeah, like I said, it is what it is. And I'm very glad to be here right now, but I am out of it. Also hungry. It's been a full day. This has turned out really nice, though. I'm actually really liking how clean some of these details are. I know that the polygons are very dense here. There's a lot of triangles that I would say are probably unnecessary, ultimately. But the flip side of that is that I am able to really fine-tune where some of this joins together. And I actually think it's coming together pretty well. Like, you can see the faceplate really taking shape here. I can ride on a big bird, and then I'll fly. I've been a puppet, a papa, a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and out, and I know one thing. Each time I find myself sitting flat on my face, I just pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life. It's life. And I can't deny it. Many times I thought of quitting, but my heart just ain't gonna buy it. Let's see here. Oh, see, I actually really like the way most of this is panning out, but that is just too severe a gap to bear, man. That is rough. Oh no, that is not gonna work. Oh man. Does it work if I? Oh god. Oh god, no. Why? Okay, I guess if this part right here is really combined, that's not a huge deal, but the rest of that is a problem. I'd like to make this a one-piece faceplate, though. Ugh! Sorry, this is a really, really clean template so far. I would really like it if I could get this to get even cleaner. Like that. That is good. This will work. Sorry, I pressed Control B accidentally. Control B brings up this grid for if you use a grid, I guess. I do not really use a grid. Let's see. What happens if I join these adjacent edges as is? How does that look? Oh, that looks pretty good. That's a little wonky right here, though. Can I... That's pretty good, actually. Sorry, Abby. This is part of the other problem with all of these really dense polygons. I'm having a little trouble seeing where this all rests together here. Right there. There we go. Sorry, that's even. Oh, yep. I think this is also supposed to have one more right there. Yeah. There we go. Yep, because we're going to center that like this. Yeah, there we go. Sweet, and now we've actually managed to turn the faceplate into basically... here's the thing. The nose actually, here, if you look really closely here, there's just a weird dip right here, and I'm not sure that's accurate. And so I'm not super concerned about that. But if you actually look at the side profile of this, unlike a lot of troopers where there's supposed to be kind of a break, like obviously I kind of missed the mark on this one a little bit. There's supposed to be a little bit of a gap break there where it kind of butts in and then goes up. The Neo helmet doesn't do that and has like a very flat front face. And so I want to try and get that into one piece in that way. Now, will I keep these little phalanges hanging out off to the sides here on there and there? Maybe not. I might choose to go a different route with that. But I really like the idea of basically carving in these rectangles in the mouth section here into a flat piece of foam. I think that'll be really, really clean. And then you basically just set this goggle piece on top of that. And that is, in my opinion, just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss, my mans. It's a Coke in a cocktail glass kind of night. Oh, we're probably going to wrap up pretty soon here. But a lot of this will sort of flow like the rest of the clone buckets we've done in that way. You know, you've got the cheek recesses, and the cheek recesses come together like this. You know, there's some details in there, but you can see I've left the circle where that circle bit goes. And in that way, you've got a great place to know where that circle bit goes. These are the things. These are the breaks. That's what it is. And then the dome is going to be a dome. It will be a dome. I like what Jacob Kasanoff does. He's got his base templates, and in many ways, I also do. I just apply them to 3D models as they are, so they're scalable in a more meaningful way, I think. At least like build to build, not overall. It's just good to have a dome template you like. But this is looking very pretty. I'm going to wrap up on these either tonight or tomorrow, and I'm going to share them all with my patrons very, very soon here. And then we're gonna get these out to you guys very, very soon. If you are interested in more Trooper Buckets now, you can check them out down below in the description. Or if you like these builds, if you want to get that stuff when it drops, check us out over on Patreon. Again, link down below in the description. I have not been monetized yet. Hush. It's what it is. I'm like halfway there. You need like 4,000 viewing hours. I have like 2,000. I'm hoping with new build guides on the way, that's gonna change. There's a lot of stuff on the way, stuff to be excited about. So if you're not already subscribed, feel free to subscribe. And just check us out. Check it out. And, if people are asking about it, people want to know where I get these templates, where you make these builds from, where you watch your content, send them our way. But for now, I think we're going to wrap on this live stream. I want to thank everybody who came out. I want to just thank wholeheartedly everybody who has been, pouring out their support. It's been a wild week, and I'm not out of the woods just yet. But I'll thank all my patrons real quick. Suit Up Props, Benjamin Stanley, Laura Rubin, Matt G, Jennifer Zayer, Penn Dulce, K-Snake, and of course Austin of AJ Plays Piano, whose music is actually featured on the channel. Please, all of you, thank you all so much. This has been an absolute delight. And as always, you have one question before I end the stream. Where do I contact me for commission? You can contact me at my Facebook page, foamarmory, or you can email me at foamarmory@gmail.com. I am available. But for now, Trixie, thank you all very much for coming, and please take care.